Welcome to the demon tutorial of Evil Dead the game. So for starters, let's look at the heads up display, because there's a lot of information on there and some of it you might not see first glance. So a thing I looked for quite a bit is our energy bar. This energy allows us to interact with objects, it allows us to summon other creatures, it also allows us to possess objects, set traps, or even other survivors. This is the red bar you can see right at the bottom. Every demon has the option to upgrade some of their abilities, and that is what you can see in the right corner. This is the threat level, and with the increase of each threat level, you get access to skill points which you can spend during the round to get stronger. We'll look into that a bit later. Then you can see 5 ability looking things. The one on the left side on PC, it's the button Q, is always the creature or demon specific ability. So for Warlord that would be an AoE damage buff. For Puppeteer that would be the ability to control a minion, or like control a creature or survivor with increased stats. And for Necromancer it would be summoning the flute skeleton, which then buffs your minions or like the things you possess. Then in the center you can see the 3 options to summon. Like the left side, which is usually the button 1, would be the option to summon your basic minions. I'll just call them minions to make it easier. In the center there is the ability to summon a boss, and on the right side you can see the option to summon epic minions. Epic zombies, epic creatures, call them as you wish. Then on the right side, in this case associated with the button C, you see the Make Survivors Scream ability, which is also called Demon Dash. The Demon Dash not only makes survivors scream and increases their fear level, on top of it, it also gives you energy. So the more survivors you hit, the more energy you get. In the top left corner you can see the map. This might seem obvious, but what is more important about that is that the map actually shows you the tiny symbol of like a survivor face when they make any sort of noise or drive a car. So if you have troubles finding survivors at the beginning of the game, this is where you should look, and it shows you like the tiny face and you can just rush in that direction and chances are you'll find them there. So in the beginning of the game, it is advisable to set as many traps as you can in areas that you think the survivors would visit. That might be, like if you don't have any other clues, just the location of the map, or alternatively of the dagger. That's just a place you can go to if it's like really close. Set a couple traps there. That's how you will gain some threat level and prepare an area for later. If you happen to find one of the parts of the map, that would also be an option to just go there and play some traps and gain these experience levels that you ideally will need later on. The moment you get some information about the survivor's whereabouts, you want to dash into their direction and annoy them with traps. Maybe throw in a couple summons, try to rack up some damage on them to gain juicy levels. When the game continues, you just follow the survivors around, try to overwhelm them in situations where they may be spaced out, or try to just get as many summons out as you can at once, so you have the upper hand in a fight to overthrow them. Notice that survivors can reset completely, even if you downed someone, even if you killed someone. So make sure to either gain a lot of levels, or if you can, kill all at once to win the game. So a lot of the game is about macro, and macro means managing your resources. That is A, the energy levels, and B, the threat level. Gaining energy is relatively easy, as there is not that many ways to get it. First off, you find these red glowing bubbles everywhere, and those give you energy. And second off, you can use the Scream ability, which, as I said before, recharges your energy if you hit survivors with it. However, the cooldown is quite long, so you have to rely on these red bubbles quite a bit. Another option to gain energy is skilling it in the talent menu and getting the passive income of energy. In general, I found that a very important tool to get early on and as quickly as possible. And this is also where you find a difference between the different demon types. the Puppeteer doesn't have access to passive gain of these points until a relatively late level, while the other two have that option relatively early. And the fourth option how to gain energy would be if the survivors are fighting for one of the more important objectives, meaning activating the map with the ritual, getting the dagger, disrupting the ritual, or even fighting for the Necronomicon. That's where you passively will get energy if you are in the circle. And that arguably makes it easier for you to spam stuff at them. Alright, let's talk about the threat level next, because that's the next macro stat that you need to keep a look at. So your threat level gives you access to like stronger minions, more energy, power up your possessions or your traps or your vision. I'll talk about that in a bit. So to get this threat level as high as possible, as early as possible is really important. And the best way to increase this threat level is to make survivors interact with your traps or deal damage to them with your minions. So if you in any way, shape or form are able to deal damage to them while possessing a minion, that will directly increase your threat level. And if you manage to get it down early on, that will increase your threat level by a ton. And the higher the threat level is, the easier it is to win fights in these big combat situations around, for example, the dagger. So far, so easy. So let's talk about talents. There is various talents that you have available. So there is the talent tree for the demon. Infernal energy is any means of gaining energy. As stated before, the Puppeteer, as seen here, cannot gain passive energy really early, so they need to rely on just grabbing these balls or hitting their screams. Then we got the possession power up, which is arguably very strong because each minion you possess gets a large chunk of extra damage and extra health, and that makes an insane difference. Then you can power up your basic portal, which then gives your basic minions more power, or the elite portal, which then gives your elite minions more power. Also noteworthy, powering up the possession tab will also reduce the cost of maintaining a possession. Same goes for the boss. You'd also power up the boss himself. In general, whenever you power up a summoning, that also means you reduce the cooldown of it and reduce the cost of it. So powering these up is arguably very, very useful. Now let's talk about Demon Vision. So upgrading Demon Vision makes it that you can find survivors easier. You will have more noise detection time and you need less fear to always detect survivors. I personally don't think it is worth it to spend any points on this, because usually when you find survivors, it is kind of hard to lose them again, and you need to find them at some point in the first place, and it's not really worth it to put these points in, because if you're far away and you have no idea, this won't help you find them, and if you're already close, you won't have any issues finding them. So Demon Vision currently seems borderline useless, at least in my knowledge. And last off, we can also power up our traps, which is really strong. You increase the fear that a trap will emit, and also on level 3 you will spawn an elite unit if a trap gets triggered. That arguably is very strong. However, I did not use it as much as of now because I just prioritized other things. But in theory this should be really, really strong the moment you hit the level 3 and get these elite units in fights. In general, I don't want to go too deep into strategy right now, because strategy itself might evolve. We're only a couple days in. Survivors don't really know what they're doing yet. Demons don't really know what they're doing yet. So strategies might change. But keep the following things in mind. You don't want to throw your summons at survivors when they're all together and they're feeling 100% fine at the moment, because chances are they'll just like rub them off real quick, kill them real quick, and you get no value out of it except like losing your points. What you want to do is either go after a person that's singled out, or if you can single them out in a fight, or if possible, try to overwhelm them. So if you have a situation where you can at least spawn both portals, maybe add the boss, maybe have another trap nearby, or in general have a trapped area, and have that situation where you have like a lot of units in the field very, very quickly, that is usually what you're looking for. Because that is when survivors need to diversify their attention, and you at least should be able to get a couple hits off to get these juicy levels in. Those are the most important points about playing Demon right now. So far I had really great success playing Demon. It was a lot of fun too, so I hope I could help you with this, and if you have any questions, feel free to stop by my stream or just post questions in the comments. If you want me to like rate which demon I think is the strongest, my vote would currently go with the Puppeteer. The Warlord, in my opinion, has probably the strongest boss right now. However, I would say probably more experienced survivors would be able to dodge his attacks quite easily. The Puppeteer's ability to control a minion for free and give them extra stats seems to be a lot stronger than the simple damage buff of the Warlord. Like this ability control doesn't only give more stats, it is also for free, and that means it helps your economy. And you need to realize how important your economy is in this game. Like if you run out of energy, you can't do anything anymore. And any action that is necessary that you can get for free is amazing. I think there's one more thing I never talked about yet, and this is also regarding the energy economy. If you possess something or someone and you get hit, you lose energy. And you will lose that connection when either the unit dies, if it's a zombie, or if you run out of energy, if, for example, it is a survivor, it is a car, or something else. So whatever you control will cost you energy if you get hit. This is also not clearly stated anywhere, but it is a very clever mechanic that you should know about. So the most important things summed up in this video. I hope you liked it. If you want to see more like that, please feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell, and all the other things. And yeah, have a great evening, or day, or whatever. Bye-bye.